Okay, what's up, folks? Today is Tuesday, September 12th, 2017. Rich Van Tassel with you. I know it's a little late. We've been busy these last couple 2 days with other things. Giving you right now some updates on the injuries following week one. Of course, you would have to say the biggest one is David Johnson of the Arizona Cardinals. He's an all-everything running back, a guy who I had on my All-Pro team last year. That's my All-Pro team. I can't remember if he was on the final All-Pro team. I'm almost certain he was, but certainly a spectacular player. He is going to be gone for 2 to 3 months. So Arizona, a team that certainly, well, you'd have to say at least would have a shot. I was looking at it; they really let that Detroit game go coming into the season. If they could turn things around, there was certainly a possibility. A lot would have hinged on David Johnson. That's an injured wrist that will have him out 2 to 3 months. I'm not going to get into the fantasy implications. I don't play fantasy. You guys who play fantasy can deal with that. As for this team, clearly a lot is going to be put on Carson Palmer now. What does he have at this age? Could this really be a terrible year for the Arizona Cardinals? And certainly you'd say the end of the Carson Palmer era. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about on my radio show. I'll get into that later to give you all the information for that. But, reactions, overreactions, where things exactly lie. This certainly would not be an overreaction. You're taking one of the most dynamic players off of your team. And like we said, you saw Seattle struggles in game one against Green Bay. Certainly, the Los Angeles Rams played very well against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, was that a situation where the Rams have really improved over the Colts that bad? We'd have to keep an eye on that, but certainly I don't think Los Angeles, at best, I'd say, is looking at a 10-6 season. That's if everything breaks right. Clearly, I'd still have the Seattle Seahawks winning the division. It's a fairly weak schedule for all the teams all the way around, though. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but that's a big one. Danny Woodhead for the Baltimore Ravens is out. He is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. It is not a torn ACL as was expected. It's a hamstring injury as of right now. Look, Baltimore has trouble running the ball. I don't know how much Woodhead dictates in the running game. He's much more of a guy out of the backfield catching passes. He can do things in the running game, but certainly this is a big injury for them as well. Now you're turning back to Terrence West and Javoris Allen. They don't have it. Remember, they ran the ball a lot in game one, but as we discussed in the recaps of all the games, they did not have a good yards per carry average, and they had the lead basically all the game, so they were able to run it. We discussed it in the season preview for this team. How much are they going to put on Joe Flacco? If they put a lot on him, Flacco was a capable quarterback. I don't want to imply otherwise, but it's a situation where you're looking at a team that could really have their struggles if things, if they can't pick up the running game and they don't have Danny Woodhead as a safety valve or can do any of the running that's necessary. So that's certainly a big injury as well. You also had Allen Robinson. He's out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of their good wide receivers. He's done for the season with a torn ACL. Again, that looks like a very winnable division, as it usually is. Tennessee was not as impressive as I would have hoped in game one. Certainly the Colts have their problems, and Houston is figuring out their quarterback situation, and Jacksonville was able to get a road division victory in game one against the Houston Texans. So you have Blake Bortles. Look, they were limiting what he was doing. Clearly in game one, they want to limit his turnovers. So could this be a blessing in disguise? Keep an eye on that. Stephon Tuitt, defensive end for the Steelers. That's always a big situation. They run a 3-4. Ronald Darby of the Philadelphia Eagles, he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. That's a nice corner who they acquired in training camp. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, bringing him late and then not getting enough reps or whatever. I don't think that would be the case. I would expect he gets in, enough of the time. But you see this week one, you see a lot of injuries because guys are taking time off. So he would have definitely missed at least a day or two of practice just being traded and all that. So he's out 6 to 8 weeks, but no surgery will be needed. Orlando Scandrick for the Cowboys, left hand injury. That's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, Anthony Brown, who I think by season's end will be that team's best corner, will have to step in. You have the rookies, Jordan Lewis, Chidobe Awuzie, or Chidobe Awuzie, as they say it. I don't know. I just say Chidobe Awuzie. Of course, Eric Berry, we discussed that at the end of the Kansas City game. Didn't know it was a torn or ruptured Achilles, that is. but that's certainly something. Danny Amendola, of course, is out, and you had Ruben Foster. It looked a lot worse when it happened. It's just a leg injury. I saw the D on the helmet. I thought a torn ACL, so that was certainly something that you don't want to see happen, because for the 49ers, look, the 49ers aren't as terrible as the bad teams in the league. I don't think they're going to win as many games, but certainly you have to bring a game to beat the 49ers. Ruben Foster, clearly one of those guys who you're trying to develop, and was certainly a nice pick. So those things are going to be an issue, but thankfully it was not an ACL injury. And of course, you can check out all the rest of the injuries. Those are the big ones. All right, tomorrow I am moving my radio show to a new network, In the Zone Sports Radio. Be sure to check it out. We'll be discussing overreactions to the league, looking at the power rankings, some of those things. We'll get into that more when I do the show. If you'd like to call in, the number is 929-477-3688. I'd love to hear from you all then. But certainly you can also talk about these injuries as well, how serious they are. Of course, we got the Beckham injury. I'll more discuss that when I do the preview for the Week 2 games. They're the Monday night game, actually, so we'll discuss that and be able to go more into depth, because we just have that game to talk about. But to me, that's a game-to-game issue. But again, the number is 929-477-3688. That's In the Zone Sports Radio, the Veracity Sports Show with me, Rich Van Tassel, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, the 13th of September. I'd love to hear from any of you all then. So, help me start the new network, help the new network get going. Me, myself, everyone there, Kevin Dixon, all my other compadres working in the zone, get that launched off. So we'd be certainly happy to hear from you and discuss anything regarding Week 1 and how they overreact, underreact to, what's going on. You'll see a game that's lost, and then everyone will think it's the end of the world. It's just Week 1, things change. But we'll talk about it on the show, and of course, we would love to have you all for that. All right, so that's it for me tonight. Anything else, any other injuries or anything that comes across Flash, we'll give it to you, but be sure to stay tuned for this game picks coming up this week and the radio show tomorrow. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.